Welcome to the Act Room podcast. We are so excited to have you. My name is Mamie Nelson.
Sean Pennington.
Let's do this. And today we have Pennington. Let's do this. I'm so excited to have you. Bridger,
Thank you. Yes.
all about what's going on. We're going to talk about the lows of low. We're going to talk about the highs of high. Talk to us a little bit about the X Room experience. And, we just came from the X Room. It was so fun.
Well, X Room's awesome. Shout out to you guys. I've been to most X Rooms, I feel like. I don't know. I don't think all, but most. I was in one of the first ones, and you guys do a great job. Like, really high. I go to a lot of events. I'm not just saying this. There are very good people in this room. Awesome. Like, very good people. And I run 2 funds. We're always, like, raising money or look who has money. Like, I come to this room like, man, they stacked a room.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to, like, pick people out. What I'm saying, though, is I know who has money in the room. Like, and I probably don't even know half the people. I'm like, these are people that are like,
yeah.
These people don't come to events. They don't come to whatever barbecue you throw. But for whatever reason, they show up to X Room because of you guys. So well done.
That's what we talked about today is it's about we the people. It's a community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting the right people curated in a room and magic happens, right?
Yeah, well done.
Maybe on your lowest low, it'd be good to tell us about the experience of you starting your first kind of investment and going to your dad, and we'd love to maybe that would be a great place to start.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the quick version.
Yeah.
I grew up in Utah. My dad drove a car with a dent in the door, just a normal house, like nothing crazy, just nothing bad, but nothing crazy. In college, I'm starting all these businesses at BYU. I started 6 businesses my first years of college, very ambitious. I then go to my dad's business partner's house because he says, hey, this guy could help you out. I show up at this guy's house. He lives in this huge mansion. I mean, cars, pool, basketball court in his basement, beautiful, just wealthy, very wealthy dude. And I ask him, sit down on the couch kind of like this, and I say, how did you get all of this? How'd you do this? And he goes, we started a bunch of investment funds, private equity, hedge funds, venture capital, that kind of world. And he goes, we run a family of real estate funds right now. We manage about $8 billion of real estate, which is 2 times bigger than Cardone Capital is today. Now, that was years ago. It was probably a decade ago. Today, I think their funds are over $48 billion. My dad has now since retired. His partner's retired, but that's the scope of how big. This is a massive operation. And I said, like I listen to podcasts that say, hey, you should find a mentor. So I said, hey, can you be my mentor? I'll show up. I'll work for free. I'll just do anything. I'll get you coffee, whatever you need. I got it for you. And he says, Bridger, go talk to your dad. Your dad knows about this way more than I do. I said, no, my dad's kind of poor. We're broke. I want to learn it from you because you're rich, right? And so he goes, sorry to break it to you, but me and your dad make about the same amount of money. And my chin drops to the floor. I'm like, what? So yeah, me and your dad are pretty much equal business partners. And I left the dude's house. I drove straight to my dad's house. I was like, Dad, what the heck? Like, why haven't we been able to order? We don't order dessert at the restaurant because we're saving money as a family. No drinks, no soft drinks ever.
Right.
And I'm like, you're running a, multi-billion-dollar family. Like, what's going on? Anyways, long story short, my he says, yes, that's what's going on. I just live a more conservative lifestyle, but I'll teach you about funds. So every Sunday night, I come to his house with the whiteboard out, and he taught me how funds are built. These are private investment funds, how they're built, how to raise capital, how SEC compliance works, how the structure works. And like anything in life, when you start to see something in your life, you start to gravitate towards that. So at 22 years old, I found this opportunity in college. The company I was working for as an intern, we could do a fund for them. We were going to finance their clients that were coming through. I thought we could give them loans. The owners of the business loved it. I took it to my dad. My dad loved it. We started to structure this whole fund out of what it would look like. And I'm like, this is exciting. This is pretty fun. I'm ready to launch. The one thing you need for a fund is money.
Yeah.
That's the basis of a fund. You pool money together and you're going to invest that, right? And so I thought, crap, who's going to invest with me? I'm young. I'm inexperienced. I got nothing to go for. And I thought, my dad, or my dad's business partner. Let's go pitch these guys. These guys for sure will invest. So I go and pitch my dad. I remember it was a late Sunday night, sat in his home office. I said, Dad, how would you like to be our first investor into our fund? My dad said, no, I will not invest in your fund. If I invest in your fund, it would ruin the experience of you raising money on your own. This is a crutch that you'll never be able to recover from. And he said, no. And I walked out with my tail between my legs a little bit. And I said, okay, I'm going to figure this out. So I hit the streets. I was like, I'm going to talk to everybody I know. I raised a whopping $49,500 from, I think, 6 or 7 investors. So a teeny amount of money.
Not many people too, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. Like average check is like what, $8,000 in that fund? It was teeny, but it was enough to get started. So we started this little fund. I started doing these little micro loans. These are $2,000, $5,000, $7,000 loans. They were turning every 6 weeks. Our first group of investors, we got them a 64% return on their money.
Dang.
So good return, small amount of money. I dovetailed that into a second fund. That fund, we raised and deployed millions of dollars out of that fund. I ran that for about 3.5 years. We had a competitor come and buy us out, and we sold that fund, which is great. And then today I've launched 2 more funds. So I run a crypto fund named Ugly Unicorn. We've and I've got on my shirt, we've raised about 22 million of equity in that fund. Our other fund is Fund Launch Partners. We've raised 27 million of equity in that fund. So in total, about 47 to 49 million of equity raised. That's not debt. That's not other things. That's equity raised in those 2 funds that I currently run right now. So about 47 million equity raised. And then we with Fund Launch Partners, we look and invest into funds. So we've invested into 9 funds in the last year. Average check of about $1 million. And then through all that, we had a lot of people asking us, how do you do funds? How do you do this? We're in Utah, for crying out loud. We don't have, we're not in Wall Street. We didn't go to Ivy League schools. My dad didn't go there. My brother's an investment funds attorney as well.
Oh.
So we started to make content online. This is a few years ago. Started a podcast, then a small course, and then it just took off. We've had over 110,000 people take one of our courses online for investment funds. We've launched. Oh, have you gone through it? Okay, there you go.
Black
Yeah.
card.
And then through our incubator Black Card, we've launched over 300 funds out of Black Card. We've it's fun. Our clients manage about $4.7 billion of AUM, which it's pretty amazing. We're growing fast. We got about 60 employees in that company. We're growing, and that's a fun business to be a part of. So we incubate funds down, help them launch. It's pretty cool.
What a journey from 49,500.
Yeah.
to 47 million.
Well, and I'm in the game still. Like, I told these guys over here, I'm in work mode. Like I'm by no means, I'm not like you guys. I'm not successful and whatever and exited. I am in work mode. I mean, we were working every day. I just came from an investment committee meeting. We're in a capital raising call in just a few minutes. I'm in the game right now. We're building, we're going. So maybe in a decade we can do another, and I can be like Sean over here and be, oh yeah, whatever. I did all these great things, but I'm in the game currently. So it's been fun.
Inspired by the work ethic, because this is what it's required. If you follow Bridger on social, you're putting out so much content, tons of value. Look at what you're doing today. I mean, what your schedule is today, and this is the door you have to open to become a successful entrepreneur.
It's fun, yeah. And right now we're in a funds. Currently we have a lot of stuff going, and so it's fun to work because it feels like there's a pot of gold just out of reach, and I'm like, okay, if we just do all these things, we can reach the gold. The harder part, and you're talking about the low lows, is I think back to a couple of years ago when you're just doing stuff and you don't quite know even if what you're doing is going to lead to anything.
Yeah.
But you're like, I know I should work on these things. And you're giving yourself tasks. You're trying to start a business and you're like, I think this will work, but I don't have enough things that have happened in the past that will prove it will work in the future.
Yeah.
And furthermore, you're sitting there like, what's the opportunity cost? What am I missing out on by pursuing this opportunity? I've had some lonely nights in the office or the theoretical office at home or in bed at night, whatever it is, and thinking, is this path I'm even on even gonna kind of work? Or am I just wasting the best years of my life down a road to nowhere?
Right.
And I think looking back, the reality is I've now learned this, that even if you're on that path and it does theoretically go to nowhere, that business doesn't work out, you actually never go back to zero. Because you learn so much along the process.
Yeah.
And it's part of who you are becoming as a person. And I didn't really realize that I dropped out of college.
Yep.
And I was like, man, am I missing out? I'm not getting a degree. I'm not going to finish that. Opportunity cost. I had a 6-figure job internship lined up in Silicon Valley. So when I graduated, I had a 6-figure job offer in Silicon Valley. I was going to graduate the next year and a half, but I'd already done the thing there. And I sat and we turned it down. And that's a whole different story we can go down as well. But
lots of prayers.
A lot of prayer in that story. Yeah, I guess I can share it. But we prayed quite a bit, and we just felt prompted not to do it. Just didn't feel right for whatever reason. We said we're going to follow this thing, I'm coming all this back together. I think that's one of the hardest parts is that on the unknowns of the unknown, what's going to happen. Currently, we feel like the path we're on is going to work. It's high probability of chance it's going to work, which is fun to work and get things done. But man, I think back and it's like, that's a tough spot to be.
I appreciate the honesty and like the vulnerability there because so many entrepreneurs needed to hear that. I mean, I felt so resonated with that. Like, oh yeah, like that's exactly it. There is so often, I mean, when we created the First Flip Challenge just a year ago, like it was just an idea on the wall kind of vibe, right? And then you're like, I love this, but will anyone else?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
But then you have to, as a leader, I think that's the definition of an entrepreneur is like, no, I'm doing this with or without any work. Like you have to be the person who's like trudging for. It's just so freaking.
Especially when there's no trail.
There's no trail.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
there's no
like
trail.
there's
Yeah.
a bunch of companies out there teaching people how to do, funds.
And that's entrepreneurship right there. Yeah.
Right. So there you get out there, there's no trail to follow. So you're forging a trail, right?
Well, and you guys are in the same boat. You guys are all doing your own, and you understand that whole game. And again, I'm in the game. I want to make sure everyone listening, like, I'm by no means some great success, but I'm in the game. We're working hard. I think we've had some decent success so far, but we hopefully will get some big things here in the future.
So what's your closing advice for an entrepreneur that's in the trees and can't see the forest? Is that lonely spot, those hard nights that they go through? What's your advice for someone in that position?
Two things come to mind is to help me. Number one, I'm a pretty faith-based person. I tried, I'm not perfect by any means, but I tried to make sure I was in line with God. I wanted to live my life in a way, and so that if there was an ounce of inspiration that would come from heaven, that I would receive it and listen and actually follow. And that's a lot of personal work to get into that spot. And I still try to do that because I think part of the courage to go on and trailblaze, like the analogy you're using, is I feel like I'm on, God's got my back. I feel like for whatever reason, I have this feeling like I'm just barking up the right tree and I don't know why.
Beautiful.
And having a spiritual confirmation behind that. And I had that for Fun Launch.
Yeah.
I have a little notes thing in my phone called prayer notes. So whenever I pray, I just pull out and I rarely get inspiration, but when I do, I want to write it down. So I have a little note thing. If I get anything, I'm going to write it down. And I was going through mine and I'll put the date on it, just little notes and whatever it could be. It could be just a feeling or whatever, just a to-do item or whatever. I just write it down when I'm praying. And I had multiple over the course of about 3 months promptings like, you need to do this Fun Launch thing. You need to do this online show or this course. Like you need to start that YouTube. Like it was so interesting. And this is before I did any of it. And I look back, I was like, I feel like this nudge, like I feel an obligation to do that. Number two, so that was the first thing I would say, make sure you're in line with God.
God was your partner through all.
Yeah, I would say, and your spouse, by the way, too. Very important as well. And when you're in line with those people, it makes it a lot easier. Number two, I would say, I made a conscious thought around the vehicle that I was in. So I'm a big believer in business vehicles, picking the right vehicle. My first 6 businesses in college, I just did anything that I thought would make money.
Sure.
I did a Chinese tutoring business. I built websites for people. I wholesaled 2 houses. I would go on YouTube, like how to make money on YouTube, and people would just teach you, right? And I tried all of them. At the time, at least. Those are the hot things on YouTube, right? Teach me how to make money. Okay. And I just tried them all. I'm like, I will try. And then what I realized was there are different vehicles of making money. And and I had a mentor that's probably best epitomized in this one story. I was shadowing this guy. I asked him, can I just shadow you? And he was in real estate, a successful dude. He did a lot in real estate. I said, I'll just follow you. He said, great. Follow me. Hop in my truck with me. I said, great. And I remember asking him, do you think I could ever I'd been with him for a couple of weeks. I'm like, little old Bridger, like, do you think I could actually make it in real estate? Like being honest, like do I have what it takes to make it in real estate? And he goes, Bridge, what are you talking about? He goes, I go to an auction with these guys. They have a mustard stain on their shirt. These guys can't even zip up their pants. And they're making a few million a year in real estate. And he goes, you have a great GPA, that you have an 8, like you're smart, you're dedicated. He's like, you'll run over these people if you're in this vehicle. And I was like, huh. And he goes, but if you're in the vehicle of if you're trying to be a software engineer, much more competitive environment, you can still make good money, but different levels, right? Different vehicles. If you're trying to be a chef, I love using the chef example. If you're the best chef in the world, you open a restaurant on Las Vegas. Average average revenue of a top restaurant in the Strip is about 30 to 40 million a year. Take home is about 3 to 5 million. That's best in the world.
Right.
The best chefs in the world are making net profit of the whole business is making 3 to 5 million a year. The best hedge fund managers in the world are making 3 to 5 billion a year. The best people in real estate are making, you can pick different vehicles. So I went back
pick
to
real estate, pick hedge funds.
and just be intentional about the vehicle you are in. I loved the vehicle of I thought online training and or incubator was a good vehicle, very scalable, lots of margin. I was like, okay, that's a decent vehicle. And then I also thought funds. I was like, the wealthiest people per Forbes, the number 1 category of billionaires is private fund management. Number 2 is tech. Number 3 is fashion. Number 4 is manufacturing. I thought, I'm going to pick a vehicle that actually scaled. If I'm going to dedicate 30 to 40 years of my life to something, might as well be in a vehicle that can scale. And if I have bumps in the road, fine. But I'm in the right vehicle. I have too many friends that have a midlife crisis because I think they sit there and they go, wait a second, I just spent the last decade in the wrong vehicle. And that's a tough place to be. And so back to how do you get through the weeds? Advice to myself, my younger self is, number 1, be in line with God and your spouse. It's a really good team to have. And the second one is make sure you're in the right vehicle. Because we can do anything in 10, 20, 30 years, but as long as you're in the right vehicle.
Sure.
Into that.
Yeah. Be willing to fail fast. I think that is such a, like, the moment to take away, right? Is like, if you're an entrepreneur, it's okay to be like, this isn't the right vehicle. Where you might be listening to this right this second and be like, oh my gosh, Bridger, like, I'm in the wrong vehicle. And that's okay to admit that. Like, in fact, I encourage you to. I encourage you to recognize that you should come hang out with us, right?
I'm trying to be a chef. Now, if your goal is to make money, I wouldn't tell you to be a chef. But if your goal is to make good food, then
Be a chef.
be a chef. But if we're talking about the goal of making money, which is most entrepreneurship, find the right vehicle. Yeah.
I think it boils down to having the vision of where you want to go, right? It's like, hey, you had a certain priorities you wanted to accomplish. And so you knew which vehicle you wanted to choose. And once you have that vision, it helps you for the future growth and what you're doing, right? I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you for being on the show, Bridger. Much love. There's so many great content and pieces that you brought up in this interview. Incredible.
Appreciate y'all.
Oh,
Yes.
so good. All right. Well, thank you for watching the podcast. We are so excited to have you. Make sure you like, subscribe. We drop a new episode every single Friday. We'll see you on the next time.